Right, it is Lunch with Caroline Martin. Thanks for your company this afternoon. Yeah, this is kind of like odd, I guess, but realistically, is it? Because it happens to us all. We're talking about water cremation. Now, we know you can be buried, you can be cremated, but water cremation is claimed to be an eco-friendly way of saying goodbye to a loved one. So basically, you are dissolved in water, the bones are left. You can then give those ground up to a loved one to keep and do what they want with. But essentially, there is liquid left at the end of the process, which gets sent down the drain. So that's why people are kind of like a bit up in arms about this and are thinking, ew, is it so bad? What are your thoughts on it? 03453 009956. Let's have a chat to Lee Solomon, who is the owner of Lilies Funeral Directors in Sutton. Hi, Lee.
Hi, Caroline. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. Thank you very much for coming on for a chat this afternoon. So I guess you've heard about this water cremation, haven't you then, Lee? What do you think of it?
Yeah, it's been talked about for quite a while, but as you say, Rowley Regis has had it in the pipeline for quite a while now, and it's been all going ahead. And I'm surprised that the water company have only just got involved now to say no. But personally, I think it's brilliant to be able to offer families more choice. In this day and age, burial plots are becoming very, very expensive, and when someone wants to have a cremation as an alternative, it is a lot cheaper. But some people just hate the thought of fire. So giving them the alternative, which is the direct opposite being water, I think it's brilliant that we can offer a service like that to families.
So do you think it would involve, I mean, because, you know, when somebody passes, they come to you, well, you know, in your business, and you do what's required and get that person ready for burial or cremation. Would you be involved in this in the same way? You get them ready for this, and would there be a service? I mean, how would it work, do you think?
From what I've read, it's going to work exactly the same way as what a normal cremation service would be. So we would do our job exactly the same way. We would prepare them for the cremation or for the burial or for water cremation. The service will be held at Rowley Regis Crematorium, and then rather than going into the cremator, they'll go into the water cremation machine, so to speak, instead of going into the normal cremator. So I think the logistic-wise, it will all stay pretty much the same. It's just the what's done with the deceased afterwards will change.
Why do you think people are put off by this?
It's different, isn't it? Everyone's always when something different comes into the world, people are always a bit dubious about it at first. But with the water supplies, I'm sure I've read somewhere that the tap water that we drink has been recycled through us at least 6 or 7 times.
Yeah.
So that's been put through bodies. There's people that are buried, so the water has gone through the water system, through over deceased and into our normal water supplies. So I think in time it will become the norm, or a normal alternative to what is already out there. But I can understand why public opinion initially is like, that's a bit icky, as you've been saying. But I think in time, I think it will become the norm. Personally, I think it's a nice alternative to be able to offer.
Well, exactly, and that's what it is, isn't it? People don't have to do it. It's not compulsory. It's just another choice to consider, isn't it, really?
Oh, definitely, especially in this day and age when there's so many alternatives in life, and we're so accepting of things. I think it's something that we should be accepting of, and in a lot of religions, water is the preferred funeral method. So if we can offer something a lot closer to that preferred method to make them more happier at a time which is so horrific for families, I think it's brilliant to be able to offer something like that.
Is there? Well, I mean, you talked about the price, you know, of having a burial. So it's these plots are expensive now, are they? Are they? I mean, because I know that I've heard before that we're running out of space and so on and so forth. How much is it for an average funeral? I know that you can't be specific because it must depend on the the type of coffin, the type of service, and all the rest of it. But I mean, what is the price difference between a cremation and a burial?
Yeah, sure. So keeping it local to Birmingham, but Birmingham City Council fees for a new grave, you're looking at just over £3,000, and that's for the ownership of the grave and then the interment of the first deceased. And then you're looking at a further just over £1,000 for every deceased that's then buried in that grave. And you can have the grave up to 3 people. Where a cremation, it does differ from crematorium to crematorium, but you're looking at the average is between £800 and £900 now for a cremation. So if you look at the price difference just on a single cremation, or when you're buying the plot originally, you're looking at a difference of at least £2,100. So it's a massive difference financially.
I think that so you say you can buy a plot and more than one of you can go in it. Do you have to specify that to begin with then? Because presumably you'd have to sort of like dig deeper down if there was going to be. Are you buried on top of one another?
Yeah. So you'll buy different cemeteries are different, and you'll buy a plot. The grave will be for 3 people, for 2 people. Some cemeteries are only for 1 person. And then you're buried on top of each other. So the first interments will be dug for 3 graves depths down, or 2 graves, or 1. So yeah, you've got to specify how many a grave for how many people you want to purchase.
And how long do you own that for, or how long does the family own that plot for? Because you go through some sort of like graveyards, some cemeteries, and there's graves there that have been there for like years and years and years. Are they all still owned by that family, or can people come along and say, well, actually, we're going to bury on top of that now?
No, so it's changing now because we're so short on space. Usually, when you buy a plot, you'd buy the contract of the land for say 100 years, and because we've got such a shortage of space, those contract lengths are being shortened now. So the average, where it used to be 100, is probably now 50. But to get the exact length of time which you'll own the grave, you'd have to contact the cemetery itself.
Right.
Every cemetery is different.
I see. Well, listen, it's been fascinating, and thank you so much, Lee. I mean, there's no point shying away from all of this, and it's out there, so we need to talk about it. And I thank you very much for your time, my lovely. Thanks for coming on, Lee.
Thank you for having me on. You take care.
Take care now. That is Lee Solomon, who's the owner of Lilies Funeral Directors in Sutton. So, okay, it's sunk in a bit now. So how are we feeling about this? Give us a call, 03453 009956. That's 03453 009956 and 81333 on the text. Start it with WM. We've got some text coming in. We'll go through some of these in a bit, but when you hear about it in the first place, you're thinking, oh, and then when it sinks in a bit, you're thinking, oh, okay, maybe it is just another perhaps reasonable alternative. Would you consider it? Get in touch, come on and chat.